Alright, so I'm finally getting around to the much procrastinated upon Carboy Terrarium remake. So I've taken a slightly different approach with this one. Instead of trying to shove a bunch of plants, fully grown plants through the little 1 inch opening in the jar, which tends to damage them and everything dies over the course of the next couple of weeks, I'm trying to just grow from seeds. I do have a little bit of the monkey grass, the lily turf grass in here because that seemed to do well. But other than that, it's mostly just whatever seeds are already in the soil. If from the other Terrarium 2.0 terrarium that I've got, I've seen plenty of stuff sprout up other than what I planted in there. So I know that there's plenty of seeds in that soil. And just from gardening around my yard, I've seen plenty of things sprouting. So there should be enough seeds in the soil on its own. But in addition to that, I've thrown in some tomato seeds that I just had lying around because those seem to sprout and grow pretty well. And I think they might be able to make it in here. Um, Other differences, I'm using rainwater instead of tap water for this, and just in case the chlorine or fluoride or something is somehow affecting the plants. I don't really think it is, but since I'm trying to whittle down the number of variables that are causing me trouble, I figure just using collected rainwater might be a little more controlled. I guess I could use distilled water, but I didn't. I put 5 cups of it in here, which is a lot more than I usually use, but I'm expecting a lot of it to evaporate since I'm not sealing this straight away. This still might be too much water. I might get a lot of mold or something growing in there, but I used 5 cups so that there would be enough, even though I'm not sealing it up straight away. Let's see. Other than that, I put in a couple of little snails and isopods. That's something I've done in all the others, but I'm hoping that these will survive because I'm leaving the top open so there's a little bit of air that they can breathe. And there's a lot less soil and substrate than in the last terrarium. The substrate in the other terrariums has really definitely been overkill. Even the 1 inch or so that I have in here isn't completely filled with water, despite the fact that I put 5 cups of water in here. And the only purpose of it is just to provide a place for the water to drain off to. So if I don't need it, I'd rather leave it out and get a little bit more headroom for the plants to grow into. The soil might be a little bit too shallow, but we'll have to wait and see on that. And I really wanted to have more headroom here since in every single terrarium the plants grow up to the top and then they start to get fungus and stuff as they grow against the glass and die. So hopefully a little bit of extra room is worth more than a couple inches of extra soil. But we'll see over time. So I gathered the soil from 5 or 6 places in my yard and my neighbor's kind of sand driveway thing, just to try to get a little bit more diversity of soil types and soil dwelling life forms to see if that helps ensure that something will survive under these conditions. And then I threw some dead leaves in too to have a little bit of compost and organic material. I'll put those mostly at the bottom, so they ought to also help kind of prevent soil from filtering through I get a lot of silt building up at the bottom of these, and hopefully the leaves will help catch a little of that and keep it from washing out into the substrate. But other than that, it's basically similar to the first 2.0 Carboy terrarium. So I'm just going to throw up a little bit of little footage on the screen. One other thing, I'm leaving this open for a little while. It's kind of an undeterminate period of time. I want to see how long it takes for these plants to grow, and once there's something established in there that I know can produce a little oxygen and food for all the the insects and snails that I'm hoping to get to live in there, then I will seal it up and we'll call that the hard manufacture date for the terrarium. But it is not sealed straight away, and so I'm gonna have a little follow-up at the end of the video about 2 weeks after I've made it and see how things are going then. Alright, so it's been about 2 weeks since I planted this, and as you can see, a bunch of stuff has sprouted up inside it, which is what I was going for. I'd say based on the rate of growth in here, you can see this monkey grass isn't doing too well because of the root damage, so I kind of need more of the remaining plants to survive before I can really seal this up. But I'd say it's probably a month or so before it's at a point where I think I'm going to try to seal it. But as far as making the terrarium, this kind of shows you what I'm going for. One other thing I want to point out, I came out here today not to look at that, but to do some gardening in the backyard, and I come to find this. This terrarium, what is it, number 305? The lid is blown clean off. At least that's what I'm assuming happened, because I came out here and it's just gone. And I can't find it anywhere around. So I think what happened is that the pressure built up and just popped the top right off, and the cork flew somewhere. And I'm not likely to find it again anytime soon. So, I've seen pressure building up in some of the other ones. You can see this one's a screw top. It's kind of bulged open, but it hasn't flown off, probably because, you know, there's a mechanical link, whereas this is just friction and then the sealant. But I thought that was interesting. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this one. I'm not going to do anything with it today, but probably going to try to see if I can't fix it up and get it to survive a second go. But yeah, as you can see, stuff is growing in here. This one's well on its way. I think this strategy might be a little more effective than what I've done in the past. I think that will conclude things for now.